The morning sun cast long shadows across the United Nations building in New York City. Jiwoo stood at the tall windows watching people walk on the streets below. She had no idea that in just a few hours everything would change forever. Her blue diplomatic uniform felt heavier today, somehow like the weight of the entire world was already pressing down on her shoulders inside. The main assembly hall world leaders sat in their assigned seats. President Hyun-soo from Korea looked calm, but Jiwoo could see the tension in his hands as he gripped the edge of the table. Prime Minister Chun from Britain kept checking her watch every few minutes. The German Chancellor Muller stared straight ahead at the massive holographic projector that would soon display the most important message in human history. Dr. So-jin walked into the room carrying a thick folder of research papers. She had spent the last 20 years studying alien cultures and languages ever since first contact with the Zephyrians 50 years ago. She had believed that humans and aliens could live together in peace. She had learned their customs, written books about their societies, and even lived on their worlds for months at a time. Now she felt sick to her stomach, because she knew what was coming. The hologram flickered to life, casting blue light across every face in the room. 12 alien figures appeared, each one representing a different species from across the galaxy. The Zephyrians looked like tall, thin humans with silver skin and large black eyes. The Korathians had scales that changed color when they spoke. The Vexians were small and round with tentacles. Instead of arms, each species had joined the Galactic Federation at different times over the past 1,000 years. Ambassador Zethmar of the Zephyrians stepped forward. His voice was cold and mechanical as it came through the universal translator. We have called this emergency session to deliver a verdict that has been decided by unanimous vote of all 12 member species of the Galactic Federation. Ji-woo felt her heart start beating faster. She had been Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Federation for 10 years. She had attended hundreds of meetings, negotiated trade deals, and helped solve disputes between different worlds. She had never seen the aliens look so serious before. The human species of planet Earth is hereby expelled from the Galactic Federation, effective immediately. Zethmar continued. All trade agreements are cancelled. All technological sharing programs are terminated. All human colonies in Federation space must be evacuated within 6 months. President Hyun-soo shot to his feet, his face red with anger. What are you talking about? We have followed every rule, obeyed every law. We have been peaceful members of your federation for 50 years. The Korathian representative stepped forward, her scales turning deep purple. Your species has shown dangerous levels of ambition and unpredictability. You ask too many questions about technologies that should remain classified. You expand too quickly into new territories. You adapt our gifts in ways we never intended, but that is what makes us human. Jiwoo said, her voice shaking. We are curious. We want to learn and grow. How is that wrong? The Vexian ambassador waved his tentacles dismissively. Your military grows stronger every year. Your industrial capacity has increased by 300% in the last decade. Your scientists have modified our F-tool drives to be faster than our own ships. This level of advancement is unacceptable. General Taemin had been sitting quietly in the back of the room. Now he stood up slowly, his uniform decorated with medals from various peacekeeping missions. So you are afraid of us, he said. It was not a question. The alien representatives looked uncomfortable. The Zephyrian spokesman cleared his throat. Fear is not the correct word. We are concerned about galactic stability. Your species has a history of violence and conquest. Even your own planet has seen countless wars. Dr. So-jin stepped forward, her research papers scattered across the table. But we have changed. We have not fought a major war in over 60 years. We have helped solve conflicts between other species. We have shared our medical knowledge to save lives across the galaxy. The Etherian representative spoke for the first time, her voice like music, but her words were sharp. Your medical advances are part of the problem. You solve problems too quickly. You find solutions where others see only obstacles. You make the impossible seem routine. This disrupts the natural order. Jiwoo realized the truth in that moment. These aliens were not afraid of human violence. They were afraid of human potential. They had watched humanity take basic alien technology and improve it beyond anything they had imagined. They had seen humans solve problems that had stumped alien scientists for centuries. They had witnessed human colonies flourish in environments that Other species avoided. The vote was unanimous, continued Zethmar. All Federation worlds are closed to human ships. Human ambassadors must leave Federation space within 30 days. All joint projects are terminated immediately. This decision is final and cannot be appealed. President Hyun-soo leaned forward, his voice deadly quiet. And if we refuse to comply, the Thoraxian representative, who had been silent until now, spoke in a voice like grinding stone, then you will be removed by force. The combined fleets of 12 worlds will enforce this. Exile. The room fell silent. The weight of the threat hung in the air like a storm cloud. Everyone knew that Earth's military was strong, but fighting the entire Galactic Federation would be suicide. The aliens had weapons and technologies that they had never shared with humans, but something unexpected happened. Instead of fear or despair, Jiwoo saw determination in the faces around her. President Hyun-soo straightened his shoulders. General Temin smiled grimly. Dr. So-jin gathered her papers with steady hands. Very well, said President Hyun-soo, his voice carrying across the room to every alien representative. Earth accepts your decision. We will comply with your demands. The aliens looked surprised. They had expected arguing or pleading or threats. Instead, they got calm acceptance. We have one question, though, continued the president. How long do we have to remove all humans from Federation space? 6 months, replied Zethmar, looking confused by the lack of resistance. Thank you, said President Hyun-soo. That is very generous. The hologram flickered and the 12 alien representatives disappeared one by one until the room was left in ordinary light. The world leaders sat in silence for a long moment. Then President Hyun-soo began to laugh. It started as a quiet chuckle but grew into full laughter. Soon General Taemin joined him. Then Dr. So-jin and finally even Ji Woo-thi think they are punishing us, said the president, wiping tears from his eyes. They think Exile is a threat, but we were alone in the universe before we met them, said General Taemin, and we did just fine. Dr. So-jin stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the city below. For 50 years we have been good neighbors. We have followed their rules, played by their system, tried to fit in. And where did it get us? Asked Jiwoo. Exactly where we need to be, said a new voice from the doorway. Engineer Dong Hyun entered the room carrying blueprints under his arm. I have been working on new ship designs for months, just in case something like this happened. The president looked at him with interest. What kind of ships? The kind that can carry entire cities to distant stars, said Dong Hyun, spreading his blueprints on the table. The kind that can travel faster than anything in the Federation fleet. The kind that can build new worlds from scratch. Jiwoo felt a surge of excitement. She had spent years trying to fit into alien society, trying to make humans seem less threatening. Now she realized that being threatening was exactly what the situation required. Dr. So-jin turned from the window, her eyes bright with possibility. There are billions of star systems beyond Federation space worlds that they have never explored, resources they have never claimed, and if they try to stop us, asked General Taemin, then they will learn why they were right to fear us, said President Hyun-soo's room buzzed with energy as the leaders began making plans. The Exile was not an ending, it was a beginning. The aliens had made one critical mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare, and 6 months was more than enough time for humans to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. Outside the window, the city continued its daily routine. People walked to work, children played in parks, traffic moved through the streets. None of them knew yet that their world was about to change forever, but change was coming and humanity would never be the same again. The day of departure was unlike anything in human history. Thousands of ships lifted off from Earth at exactly the same moment, their engines turning the morning sky brilliant white. Admiral Naeyoung stood on the bridge of the battleship Incheon, watching the greatest fleet ever assembled rise into space around her. Each ship had a specific role in the grand plan. The massive colony vessels carried millions of people along with everything needed to build new cities. The industrial ships contained factories that could be assembled on any world within days. The military vessels formed protective formations around the civilian ships, ready to defend against any alien attack. President Hyun-soo watched from the observation deck of the flagship. As Earth became smaller and smaller behind them, this was not a retreat or an escape. It was an invasion of empty space that would change the galaxy forever. He felt no sadness about leaving Earth. because he knew they would return someday as conquerors. The first destination was the Kepler system, a cluster of 7 star systems that the aliens had declared uninhabitable. The official reason was high radiation levels that would kill most Federation species within hours, but engineer Dong Hyen had developed radiation shields that made the journey completely safe for humans. Dr. UNESCO had studied the Kepler system for months and knew it was perfect for human colonization. The radiation that kept aliens away would power the massive industrial complexes that humanity needed to build. The 7 stars provided enough energy to supply an entire galactic civilization. Commander Jiho led the advanced scout teams that had already prepared landing sites on 3 different worlds in the Kepler system. Each world had been surveyed and mapped with construction sites already marked out for cities, factories, and defensive installations. The moment the colony ships arrived, construction could begin immediately. The journey to Kepler took only 3 days, using Dr. Minyoung's improved FTL drives. The same trip would have taken alien ships over a month. The entire human fleet arrived at exactly the same time with perfect coordination that impressed even the military commanders. The colonization of Kepler 1 began within hours of arrival. Automated construction systems were deployed across the planet's surface, building cities faster than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Within a week, the first human city was complete with homes for 1 million people, schools, hospitals, and manufacturing facilities. But Kepler 1 was just the beginning. Similar colonies were established on Kepler 2 and Kepler 3 within the first month. Each world was designed for a specific purpose. Kepler 1 would be the administrative center, Kepler 2 would handle manufacturing, and Kepler 3 would serve as a military base. The aliens had no idea what was happening. The Kepler system was so far from Federation space that their sensors could not detect human activity. Even if they had known humans were there, they would have assumed it was a small research station, not the foundation of a new empire. Engineer Dong Hyen had built something the aliens thought impossible, a network of industrial complexes that could produce anything humanity needed: spaceships, weapons, tools, food, medical supplies, and even luxury items that made life in the colonies comfortable. The production capacity of the Kepler system exceeded anything in Federation space. Within 3 months, human colonies had spread beyond the original 3 worlds to encompass all 7 star systems in the Kepler cluster. Each system was connected by FTL communication relays that allowed instant coordination across impossible distances. The human empire was growing faster than even the most optimistic planners had hoped. Captain Beora's scout ships pushed deeper into uncharted space, discovering new worlds every week. Her teams found star systems rich with resources that the Federation had never bothered to explore: gas giants filled with rare minerals, asteroid fields containing enough metal to build entire fleets, and dead worlds perfect for conversion into manufacturing centers. The aliens had built their civilization slowly and carefully, never expanding beyond what they considered safe limits. They had explored less than 10% of the galaxy, choosing to stay close to their original worlds rather than risk the dangers of unknown space. Humans had no such limitations. Every new system Beora discovered became another potential colony site. Her scout ships were followed by survey teams that mapped the worlds and planned construction projects. Within months of discovery, most systems had human colonies with millions of residents. The communication network that Park Min had designed allowed perfect coordination between all human colonies. Messages could travel from one end of human space to the other in minutes, while alien communications took days or weeks to cross much smaller distances. This gave humanity a massive advantage in expansion and defense. Any threat to one colony would be known instantly by all other colonies, allowing them to coordinate their response. Human military forces could be deployed anywhere in human space within hours, while alien forces took weeks to move between different systems. Dr. Sojin had established diplomatic contact with independent worlds that had never joined the Federation. These worlds were eager to trade with humanity, and many of them requested human protection against Federation pressure. The human empire was growing not just through colonization but through voluntary alliances. The independent worlds provided something crucial that humans needed: information. about the galaxy beyond Federation space. They knew about trade routes, alien political situations, and most importantly about other species that the Federation had suppressed or ignored. One of these species was the Builders, an ancient race that had vanished from the galaxy thousands of years ago. The independent worlds had legends about Builder ruins scattered across distant star systems, ruins that supposedly contained advanced technology far beyond anything the current galactic civilization possessed. Commander Jiho volunteered to lead an expedition to find these ruins. His fastest ships could reach the distant systems where the ruins were supposed to be located. The journey would take him far beyond both human and Federation space, into regions that had never been explored. The expedition departed from Kepler base with enough supplies for a year of exploration. If the Builder ruins contained the technology that legends described, it could revolutionize human civilization and give them weapons capable of conquering the entire galaxy. Meanwhile, the human colonies continued to grow and prosper. Each world developed its own character and specialties. Some focused on agriculture, others on manufacturing or research. The diversity of human colonies was something the aliens had never achieved in their rigid, uniform civilization. Admiral Na Young established the Human Defense Force as a military organization unlike anything in galactic history. Human soldiers were trained in aggressive tactics that emphasized speed, surprise, and flexibility rather than the slow, methodical warfare that aliens preferred. The Defense Force was equipped with weapons that combined human innovation with alien technology, energy weapons that could penetrate any known shield armor, that made soldiers nearly invincible, spacecraft that could outrun and outfight anything in the Federation fleet. But the most important aspect of the Human Defense Force was its philosophy. The aliens saw war as a last resort to be avoided whenever possible. Humans saw war as a tool to be used when necessary to achieve their goals. This difference in attitude would prove crucial in the conflicts to come. Within 6 months of leaving Earth, humanity had established colonies in over 50 star systems. The human population had grown from 8 billion to over 20 billion as new worlds provided space for families to expand. Each colony was connected to the others by the fastest communication and transportation network in the galaxy. The aliens finally began to notice what was happening when human ships appeared in neutral space near Federation borders. These ships were not hiding or sneaking around. They traveled openly, advertising their presence and their advanced technology. Independent worlds that had been pressured by the Federation for decades suddenly found themselves protected by human military forces. The balance of power in the galaxy was shifting, and the Federation was no longer the strongest force in known space. President Hyun-soo received reports from across human space and smiled. The Exile had been the best thing that ever happened to humanity. It had forced them to become something greater than they had ever imagined. The galaxy would never be the same again. 6 months had passed since the Exile decree, and Earth looked completely different. Seoul had become a massive construction site where engineer Dong Hyun worked 20 hours a day building ships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The shipyards stretched for miles along the Han River with massive vessels rising like metal mountains against the sky. These were not just spaceships. They were floating cities designed to carry millions of people across the stars. Each ship contained everything needed to start a new civilization: schools, hospitals, factories, farms, and even parks with real trees and grass. Dong Hyun had studied every alien ship design in the Federation database, then thrown them all away to create something purely human. Dr. Min Young stood in her laboratory in Tokyo, surrounded by screens showing complex equations. She had been working on faster-than-light travel for 3 years, ever since she realized that the aliens were holding back advanced technology. The FTL drives they had given to Earth were basic models designed for slow, careful travel between established routes, but humans did not want to travel slowly or carefully. Min Young had taken the alien FTL technology apart piece by piece, studying how it worked, then rebuilding it with human improvements. Her new drives could travel 3 times faster than anything in the Galactic Federation fleet. They were also completely invisible to alien sensors, using a stealth system she had developed by combining human radar technology with alien energy fields. Captain Bo Ra commanded the first wave of scout ships, sleek vessels that could slip Through space like shadows in the night, her team had been secretly mapping star systems far beyond Federation borders. For months, while the aliens thought Earth was still following their rules, the galaxy was much larger than the Federation admitted, and most of it remained unexplored. The scout ships had found hundreds of star systems with no alien presence systems, rich with planets and resources that the Federation had ignored because they were too far away or too dangerous. Laura had personally visited 37 different worlds, taking samples and recording data. Every world her team found became another potential home for humanity in underground laboratories beneath Geneva scientists. Kangde worked on weapons systems that could defend humanity's future colonies. The aliens had shared defensive technology with Earth, but they had kept their most advanced weapons secret. They assumed humans would never need military equipment more powerful than what they already possessed. Kangde did not need alien weapons. Human creativity had produced energy shields stronger than anything in the Federation. Arsenal plasma cannons that could burn through enemy armor like paper. Missile systems that could track targets across entire star systems. He had also developed something the aliens had never imagined: weapons that could disable enemy ships without destroying them, leaving the crews alive but helpless. The most important work was happening in the deepest laboratories, where Dr. Unesio led the Genesis project. If humanity was going to spread across the galaxy, they needed to create livable worlds. Quickly, her terraforming technology could transform dead planets into garden worlds in just a few years. The aliens had never developed effective terraforming because they moved slowly and carefully, taking centuries to adapt to new environments. Humans had no patience for such delays. Unesio had created machines that could change a planet's atmosphere in months and seed it with Earth plants and animals that had been genetically modified to survive in alien conditions. President Hyun-soo stood in the command center beneath the White House, watching screens that showed activity across the entire planet. Every major city was involved in the preparation. Every country had contributed resources and personnel. The Exile had done something the aliens never expected. It had united humanity completely. General Taemin reviewed military reports from around the world. The Human Defense Force had grown from a small peacekeeping organization into a massive military machine capable of defending colonies across hundreds of star systems. Every major nation had contributed ships, weapons, and trained personnel, but the most impressive development was not the size of the human military, but its flexibility. Alien military forces were rigid and predictable, following the same strategies they had used for thousands of years. Human forces were trained to adapt, improvise, and use unconventional tactics that would confuse alien commanders. Dr. Sojin had spent months analyzing alien psychology and military doctrine. The 12 species of the Federation had fought each other for centuries before forming their alliance, but they had never faced an enemy like humanity. Their military strategies were based on long wars of attrition, where victory went to whoever could outlast their opponent. Humans preferred quick, decisive battles, using speed and surprise to overwhelm their enemies before they could respond. The aliens would expect human forces to behave like other species in the galaxy. They would be wrong. Ambassador Ji Woo worked with refugee organizations to coordinate the evacuation of human colonies from Federation space. But evacuation was the wrong word. The humans were not fleeing, they were repositioning. The colonies would be moved to star systems that Bora's scouts had already prepared, systems that were closer to Earth and better defended. The evacuation itself was a masterpiece of human organization. Millions of people were moved from dozens of worlds in just a few months with no chaos or panic. Everyone knew their role and followed the plan perfectly. The aliens watched in amazement as human colonies simply vanished overnight, leaving behind empty buildings and no trace of where the people had gone. Industrial engineer Seo Jin had revolutionized manufacturing by creating automated factories that could build themselves. A single factory ship could land on an asteroid, and within weeks it would have constructed a massive production facility, capable of building anything from simple tools to complex spacecraft. The aliens had always built their industry slowly and carefully, taking decades to establish new manufacturing centers. Human industry grew like a virus, spreading across entire Star systems in months. Factory ships had already been sent to the worlds that Biora's scouts had discovered, beginning the construction of the largest industrial complex in galactic history. Communications expert Parkman had developed a network of FTL communication relays that could carry messages instantly across impossible distances. The aliens used slow communication systems that took days or weeks to send messages between distant worlds. Human colonies would be connected in real time, allowing instant coordination across hundreds of star systems. The relay network was invisible to alien sensors, using the same stealth technology that Min Young had developed for the FTL drives. The Federation would not even know the network existed until it was too late to stop it. As the 6-month deadline approached, Earth began to empty. Cities that had housed millions of people stood silent as their populations moved to the great colony ships. Factories were dismantled and loaded onto transport vessels along with every piece of technology that humanity had developed. But Earth was not being abandoned, it was being prepared for war. The planet would become a fortress world defended by the most advanced military technology in the galaxy. If the aliens ever tried to reclaim Earth, they would find a world that could defend itself against the entire Federation fleet. President Hyun-soo stood on the observation deck of the flagship vessel, watching Earth shrink in the distance behind them. Millions of other humans were doing the same thing from the windows of colony ships and transport vessels. The great exodus had begun. The aliens had expected humanity to slink away quietly into exile. Instead, they got the largest migration in galactic history. Thousands of ships carrying the entire human civilization to new worlds that would become the foundation of an empire larger than anything the Federation had ever imagined. Dr. Min Young activated the new FTL drives and the fleet jumped to hyperspace, traveling faster than any alien ship could. Follow the journey to humanity's new home would take days instead of the months that alien ships required. By the time the Federation realized what was happening, human colonies would already be established across dozens of star systems. The aliens had voted to exile Earth, thinking they were protecting themselves from human ambition. Instead, they had unleashed humanity on the galaxy and given them 6 months to prepare for conquest. The Federation would soon learn that exiling humans was the biggest mistake in galactic history. Commander Jiho's expedition had been traveling for 8 months when they found something that changed everything. His scout ship emerged from hyperspace in a system so far from known space that no alien had ever visited it. The star was old and dying, casting red light across 3 dead worlds, but these worlds were not empty. Ancient structures covered the surface of the second planet. Buildings that reached toward the sky like metal fingers, each one larger than entire human cities. The architecture was unlike anything in the galaxy, curved and flowing as if the buildings had grown rather than been constructed. Dr. Sojin joined the landing party carrying every scanning device that human science had developed. The readings were incredible. The metal used in the construction was stronger than anything humans had ever created. The energy signatures suggested technology thousands of years more advanced than current galactic civilization. The buildings were empty, but they were not abandoned. They had been left deliberately, like a gift waiting for someone worthy to claim them. Deep inside the largest structure, the expedition found a chamber filled with holographic displays that activated when humans approached. The images showed the history of the galaxy from a time long before the current Federation existed. A great civilization had once spanned multiple galaxies, exploring the universe and pushing the boundaries of what was possible. They called themselves the Builders, and they had created wonders that made current technology seem primitive. Professor Sang-woo studied the holographic records with growing excitement. The Builders had been explorers and inventors, constantly seeking new knowledge and new frontiers. They had mastered technologies that current galactic civilization thought impossible: matter conversion, dimensional travel, and energy manipulation on a cosmic scale. But the records also revealed a dark truth. The current Galactic Federation was not the natural result of peaceful evolution. It was the product of a deliberate conspiracy. The 12 species that now controlled the galaxy had worked together to suppress any race that showed too much potential. The Builders had foreseen this. The holographic Records contained warnings about what they called the stagnation, a time when the galaxy would be controlled by species that feared progress and change. The current Federation was exactly what the Builders had predicted. The records showed that the Builders had not died or vanished. They had moved beyond the galaxy to explore the infinite universe that lay beyond. They had left their technology behind as a test, waiting for a species bold enough to claim it and continue their work. The test was not just about finding the ruins. Any species could stumble across them by accident. The real test was whether a species would have the courage to use Builder technology to challenge the established order of the galaxy. Commander Jeho transmitted his findings back to human space using the FTL communication network. The response was immediate. President Hyunsu ordered all available science teams to join the expedition. The Builder ruins represented the key to humanity's future. Dr. Min-young arrived with her best engineers to study the Builder FTL systems. The technology was based on principles that human science had only theorized about. The Builders had not just developed faster than light travel, they had mastered dimensional manipulation. Allowing instant travel across impossible distances, the Builder ships could create temporary rifts in spacetime, allowing them to step from one galaxy to another like walking through a doorway. This technology would allow humanity to expand beyond the local galaxy group into regions that no current civilization could reach. Engineer Dong Hyun focused on Builder construction technology. The automated systems could convert raw matter into any desired form a single Builder machine could transform an asteroid into a fleet of starships or turn a barren world into a garden paradise within hours. The implications were staggering. With Builder technology, humanity could colonize entire galaxies in years rather than millennia. The resource limitations that constrained other civilizations would become irrelevant when any planet could be transformed into whatever humanity needed. But the most important discovery was the Builder defense systems. The technology could create energy shields around entire star systems, making them completely invulnerable to attack weapons that could destroy planets from across the galaxy. And most importantly, a network of automated defenses that could protect human space without requiring human crews. Dr. UNESCO studied the Builder terraforming technology with amazement. Her own terraforming systems had been impressive, but Builder technology could transform worlds in ways she had never imagined. Dead planets could be brought to life, toxic atmospheres could be purified in days, gas giants could be converted into habitable worlds. The Builder records also contained detailed maps of the galaxy showing locations that the current Federation had never discovered. Star systems rich with resources, worlds suitable for colonization, trade routes that could connect distant civilizations. These maps alone were worth more than the entire Federation treasury. Professor Sang-woo made the most shocking discovery of all. The Builder records contained information about other species that had been suppressed by the Federation throughout galactic history. Dozens of promising civilizations had been destroyed or controlled by the 12 species that now ruled the galaxy. Some of these civilizations still existed hidden in distant star systems or forced to live as servants to their Federation masters. The Builders had left detailed records of their locations and capabilities. Many of them would welcome the chance to join humanity in overthrowing their oppressors. The Builder technology came with detailed instructions and training programs that could teach humans to use the advanced systems. The Builders had designed their legacy to be claimed by a species that shared their values of exploration and progress. Commander Jeho spent weeks studying the Builder military records. The ancient civilization had faced enemies that made the current Federation seem weak by comparison. They had developed strategies and weapons designed to fight opponents with superior numbers and established positions. These strategies would be perfect for humanity's situation. The Federation had more ships and controlled more territory, but they were weak and complacent. They had never faced an enemy that could match their technology or challenge their authority. The Builder ruins contained manufacturing facilities that could produce their advanced technology. The machines were still functional after thousands of years, waiting for someone worthy to activate them. Commander Jeho's team began the careful process of bringing the ancient factories online. Within weeks, the first Builder-enhanced human ships were complete. The vessels combined human innovation with builder technology, creating something that neither civilization could have achieved alone. The ships were faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything in the current galaxy. The expedition also discovered that the builder ruins were not unique. Similar sites existed throughout the galaxy, hidden in systems that the Federation had never explored. The builders had created a network of technology caches designed to equip their chosen successors. Captain Leora received new orders to locate and secure as many builder sites as possible. Her scout ships were equipped with builder sensors that could detect the ancient technology from incredible distances. The search revealed dozens of sites scattered across human space and beyond. Each site contained different aspects of builder technology, some focused on manufacturing, others on weapons or transportation. The combined knowledge would give humanity capabilities that exceeded anything the galaxy had ever seen. The builder records also revealed the true size of the universe. The current galaxy was just one of billions, each containing civilizations that had never been contacted by the Federation. The builders had explored dozens of galaxies and established colonies and star systems that current science thought unreachable. With builder technology, humanity could become the first species since the builders themselves to achieve true galactic dominance. The Federation controlled perhaps 1% of the galaxy. Humanity could claim the remaining 99% before the aliens even realized what was happening. President Hyansu studied the builder records and made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. The technology would be shared with all human colonies and used to accelerate expansion beyond anything previously imagined. The aliens had exiled humanity to protect themselves from human ambition. Now they would face opponents armed with technology that made their own weapons seem like primitive tools. The Federation had created their own destroyers and given them the tools they needed to succeed. Dr. Sojin transmitted a message to the Federation using builder communication technology. The message was simple and direct. Humanity thanked the Federation for their gift of exile and looked forward to repaying their kindness in the near future. The age of Federation dominance was ending and the age of humanity was about to begin. The builder technology transformed human civilization in ways that even the most optimistic scientists had never imagined. Dr. Minyoung's new FTL drives combined with builder dimensional manipulation could cross the entire galaxy in hours instead of months. The network of human colonies grew from 50 star systems to over 500 in just 6 months. Engineer Donghyun's factories were now powered by builder matter conversion technology. A single facility could transform an entire asteroid belt into a fleet of starships within days. The production capacity of human space exceeded the industrial output of the entire Federation by a factor of 10. The dimensional gates that the builders had perfected allowed instant travel between any 2 points in the galaxy. Human colonies that were separated by thousands of light years could be reached in minutes instead of months. This gave humanity a coordination advantage that no other species could match. Admiral Nayoung established the Human Defense Force as a military organization that would have terrified the builders themselves. Human soldiers were equipped with armor that made them nearly invincible and weapons that could destroy entire cities with a single shot. The combination of human tactics and builder technology created the most effective military force in galactic history. The Defense Force was not just about ships and weapons. It was about the human approach to warfare. The aliens had fought the same way for thousands of years using predictable strategies and conventional tactics. Humans combined builder technology with innovative thinking that made their military responses impossible to predict. General Taemin trained his forces using scenarios that the aliens could never imagine. Human soldiers learned to fight in multiple dimensions using builder technology to appear and disappear at will. The old rules of warfare became meaningless when humans could attack from directions that did not exist in normal space. The expansion of human space accelerated beyond anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Each new colony was established using builder terraforming technology that could transform dead worlds into garden paradises within weeks. Hostile environments that had kept aliens away for millennia became prime real estate for human settlement. Captain Bioro's scout ships found builder ruins in over 200 different star systems. Each site contained advanced technology that was immediately integrated into human civilization. The builders had been very thorough in preparing for their chosen successors. The scout expeditions also discovered something that changed humanity's understanding of the galaxy. The builders had not been the only advanced civilization that the Federation had suppressed. Evidence of dozens of other species was found in the ruins, along with records of their fate. Some had been destroyed outright when they refused to submit to Federation control. Others had been reduced to slavery or forced to live in isolation on distant worlds. The Federation's reputation for peaceful cooperation was built on the graves of civilizations that had dared to challenge their authority. Professor Sang-woo coordinated contact with the survivors of these suppressed civilizations. Many of them had been waiting for centuries for someone powerful enough to challenge the Federation. They welcomed human protection and offered their own advanced technologies in exchange for freedom. The alliance that formed between humanity and the suppressed species created a coalition that spanned hundreds of star systems. Each species brought unique capabilities that enhanced human technology. The Federation suddenly found itself facing not just humanity, but an alliance of every civilization they had ever wronged. DRUNSCO's terraforming projects created hundreds of new worlds that were more beautiful than anything in Federation space. The builder technology could not only make worlds habitable, but could customize them for specific purposes. Some worlds became massive factories, others became research centers or military bases. The human population exploded as new worlds provided unlimited space for expansion. Families that had been limited by Earth's resources could now have as many children as they wanted. Each new generation was larger than the last, and all of them were raised with the knowledge that humanity was destined to rule the galaxy. The communication network that connected all human colonies allowed perfect coordination across impossible distances. Every human leader could participate in real-time discussions regardless of their location. The decision-making process that would have taken weeks for the Federation could be completed by humans in minutes. Independent worlds that had never joined the Federation began requesting human protection. The Federation's response was slow and predictable. By the time they realized what was happening, entire sectors of the galaxy had switched their allegiance to humanity. The economic advantages of joining human space were overwhelming. Human technology could solve problems that had plagued independent worlds for generations. Mining operations that had been unproductive for centuries suddenly became profitable when human matter conversion technology was applied. Trade between human colonies and independent worlds created an economic network that rivaled the Federation's own commerce. The difference was that human trade was based on mutual benefit rather than the exploitation that characterized Federation economics. Commander Ji-ho led expeditions to the edge of the galaxy where the builders had established their final bases. These installations contained the most advanced technology the builders had ever created, including dimensional weapons that could strike targets in other galaxies. The expeditions also found builder records that revealed the true scope of the universe. The local galaxy group contained over 1,000 galaxies, each with billions of stars and countless worlds. The builders had explored dozens of these galaxies before moving on to regions that current science could not even detect. With builder technology, humanity could follow in their footsteps and claim territories that made the current galaxy seem insignificant. The Federation controlled perhaps 1% of one galaxy. Humanity could claim entire galaxy clusters before the aliens even realized what was happening. The military buildup in human space proceeded at an incredible pace. Every colony was defended by orbital stations equipped with builder weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Each human ship was more powerful than anything the Federation had ever built. But the most important development was not the size of the human military, but its flexibility. Human forces could be deployed anywhere in the galaxy within hours using builder dimensional gates. The Federation's advantage in numbers became meaningless when humans could concentrate their entire military at any strategic point. Dr. Sojin established diplomatic contact with species beyond the galaxy using builder long-range communication systems. The response was immediate. Dozens of civilizations that had been isolated for millennia were eager to establish contact with the successors to the builders. These Civilizations possessed technologies that the current galaxy had never imagined. Some had mastered time manipulation. Others had developed weapons that could destroy entire star systems. The alliance that formed between humanity and these distant species created a coalition that spanned multiple galaxies. The Federation finally realized the magnitude of the threat. When human ships began appearing in neutral space near Federation borders, these ships were not hiding or avoiding contact. They traveled openly through space that the Federation considered their territory. The human ships were escorted by vessels from dozens of species that the Federation had thought extinct. The alliance that humanity had built included civilizations that the Federation had been suppressing for thousands of years. Ambassador Jiwoo received desperate messages from the Federation requesting negotiations. The 12 species that had voted to exile humanity were now begging for a chance to coexist peacefully. The irony was not lost on the human leadership. President Haeunsu's response was delivered using builder communication technology that bypassed all Federation security systems. The message was broadcast to every world in Federation space, simultaneously ensuring that every citizen would hear humanity's terms. The message was simple: the Federation had chosen to exile humanity rather than accept them as equals. Now humanity was offering the Federation the same choice: submit to human authority or face the consequences of their decision. The response from Federation worlds was immediate. Billions of citizens who had been told that humanity was dangerous and unpredictable now saw the truth. The Federation leadership had created the very threat they claimed to be protecting. Against riots broke out on Federation worlds as citizens demanded to know why their leaders had made an enemy of the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. The political structure that had maintained Federation unity for thousands of years began to collapse under the weight of its own contradictions. The aliens had voted to exile Earth, thinking they were protecting themselves from human ambition. Instead, they had unleashed humanity on the universe and given them the tools they needed to claim dominion over everything. The Federation's greatest mistake was about to become their final lesson in the consequences of underestimating humanity. 5 years after the Exile decree, the Galactic Federation was in complete chaos. Human space had grown larger than the Federation itself, encompassing over 3,000 star systems, each one more advanced than the greatest Federation worlds independent. Civilizations were abandoning the Federation daily to join the human alliance. The Federation Council met in emergency session on their capital world of Zentara Prime. The 12 species that had once ruled the galaxy now huddled together like frightened children. Ambassador Zethmar of the Zephyrians looked older than his 1,000 years as he addressed the assembled delegates. "We have created a monster," he said, his voice shaking. "The humans were supposed to disappear into exile. Instead, they have built an empire that threatens everything we have worked to preserve." The other delegates nodded in agreement, but none of them had any solutions. The Korathian representative stood up, her scales turning the deep purple that indicated extreme fear. "Our intelligence reports show that human technology is centuries ahead of our own. Their ships can travel faster than our sensors can detect them. Their weapons can destroy our strongest defenses with ease." The Vexian ambassador waved his tentacles in distress. "Worse than their technology is their influence. Every world that joins their alliance becomes stronger and more prosperous. Our own colonies are requesting permission to defect to human space." The truth was that the Federation had been built on fear and control rather than genuine cooperation. The 12 ruling species had maintained their power by suppressing any civilization that showed too much potential. Now they faced an enemy that was everything they had tried to prevent on the human colony world of New Sol Admiral. Nayoung received reports from across the galaxy. The Federation fleet was assembling near their capital system. Every ship from all 12 species was being gathered for what they called a final confrontation with humanity. The Federation had over 10,000 ships, including massive battleships that had never been defeated in combat. Their combined military force represented the accumulated power of 1,000 years of galactic domination. Admiral Na-young smiled as she read the reports. The Federation was preparing to fight the last war using tactics and strategies that had worked against previous enemies. But they had never faced an opponent like humanity, the human fleet that assembled in the Kepler system contained only 300 ships, but each one was equipped with builder technology that made Federation vessels seem primitive. The dimensional shields could deflect any weapon the Federation possessed, while the reality-warping cannons could destroy entire formations with a single-shot. General Taemin commanded the human forces from the bridge of the flagship Sejong. His strategy was simple and brutal. The Federation expected a long war of attrition. Humanity would give them a battle that lasted minutes instead of months. President Hyun-soo addressed the human fleet from his command center on New Earth. The speech was broadcast to every human colony and allied world across the galaxy. The message was clear: the time for hiding was over. Humanity would claim its rightful place as the dominant species in the galaxy. The Federation fleet arrived at the border of human space in perfect formation. Their commanders were confident that superior numbers would overcome human technology. They had never been more wrong about anything in their long history. The battle began when the Federation fleet opened fire on the human border stations. The massive energy beams that could destroy planets simply vanished when they struck the dimensional shields that protected human installations. The Federation weapons were being redirected into other dimensions where they harmlessly dissipated. The human response was immediate and devastating. The reality-warping cannons fired once. Each shot created a ripple in space-time that tore through dozens of Federation ships at once. The proud vessels that had ruled the galaxy for millennia were shredded like paper in a hurricane. Admiral Na Young had studied Federation tactics for years and knew exactly how they would respond. The alien commanders tried to spread their ships into defensive formations, but the human dimensional gates allowed instant deployment of forces anywhere on the battlefield. Human ships appeared inside Federation formations, firing at point-blank range before disappearing through dimensional rifts. The Federation crews never knew where the next attack would come from. Their weapons fired at empty space while human forces struck from impossible angles. The battle that the Federation had expected to last weeks was over in less than 3 hours. The combined fleet of 12 species was destroyed with minimal human casualties. Most of the Federation ships were disabled rather than destroyed. Because humans had no interest in genocide, the Federation capital system surrendered without resistance when the human fleet arrived at Zentara Prime. The 12 species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years now faced occupation by the civilization they had tried to exile, but President Hyun-soo had no interest in becoming another galactic tyrant. The Federation had ruled through fear and suppression. Humanity offered something the galaxy had never experienced before: true freedom and the opportunity for unlimited growth. Ambassador Ji Woo addressed the Federation Council in the same chamber where humanity had been exiled 5 years earlier. The irony was not lost on anyone present. The species that had voted to exile Earth were now asking for mercy from the civilization they had tried to destroy. The human terms were simple: the Federation would be dissolved and replaced by a new galactic community based on cooperation rather than control. Any species that wanted to join would be welcome, but they would have to accept human leadership and human values. The response from across the galaxy was immediate. Billions of beings who had lived under Federation oppression for generations welcomed the chance to join a civilization that encouraged exploration and